Hello and welcome to Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and I have the amazing actor and Vato's cigar business owner, Paul Vato, with me. Hi, Paul. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking, AJ. This is amazing. I'm so looking forward to this interview. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Paul. You are amazing, and I love your cool new mic. And thanks for bringing in a lot of fun things into our podcast. Really appreciate that. Guess what, Paul? We have a phenomenal actress tonight as a guest. We have Brynn Horrocks. She's a very, very talented actress, represented by the amazing Nancy Scanlon, who we love from Clubhouse, of Courant Entertainment. So we want to say thank you, Nancy Scanlon, and give a very special shout out and hello. Hi, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We love you. And Brynn, welcome. Let's give her a warm welcome. Hi, how are you?
I'm great and excited. A little nervous, a little excited. Happy to just be here. Yeah.
We're so happy you're here. It's just us. It's family and friends. You're amongst family and friends, and it's a nice, calm, chill environment. You're going to do great. And I just want to jump right into it because it's so much fun here already. We've got two great TV series posters on the screen. And I love these. These are gorgeous. And I picked these because they're beautiful. We've got Mad Men and Hacks. And Hacks was an Emmy Award winning series, a Max original. Brynn, can you tell us a little bit about how you got the roles in both of these and maybe some fun moments on set, on production?
Yeah, well, let's start with Hacks because that's the latest one. And I won't do any spoiler alerts because I think it starts, was it Friday? Not today. Is it starting today or airing next Friday?
Oh,
it's season 2. Honestly, because I have 2 kids, 8 and 5 boys, and they are a little crazy. So I don't really get a chance to watch a lot of television, and there's so much content out there. It's so amazing. But the one show that I had watched was Hacks. And then when I got the audition that came in from Nancy, I was like over the moon excited. However, my wife had just had shoulder surgery and she wasn't home. So I had both boys. So this is how that audition went. I got one of my boys to bed, and then my little guy, my 5-year-old, I put my backdrop, I set up my lights, I put him behind the backdrop on the couch, and I did my audition. It was all self-tape. You know how it's self-taped now. So I wasn't really sure how that was gonna go, but I really loved the character. As soon as I read the sides, I'm like, oh man, this would be awesome. And then, Nancy called me a few weeks later and said I booked it. And I was really drop-jawed. I was like, I did? Anyway, you're right about a wonderful show. It is, in all the years I've been doing this, I think it's one of the best sets I've ever worked on. Mm-hmm. Everyone is so kind. My first day on set, the director, Lucia Aniello, I'm not exactly sure how to say her name, and Jen Statsky and Paul Downs, both creators and writers of the show, all 3 of them came up to me, and I was going on to the set, and there were a lot of people around, and as I was coming in to take my place, they all came up to me and was like, thank you so much for being here. We love your work. And honestly, I was like, oh, you're talking. It was just so nice. It felt so good. They set such a good tone. They treat everybody amazing. anyway, I can't say enough nice things about them. But one funny thing, I got lost twice and missed the pass van back to base camp, and I don't know how I did it. What one we were on set, we were at the location from base camp and went to location, and during the filming there were 5 beautiful other actors with me doing guest stars besides, you know, and those are the ones that I was hanging out with. And Jean and Hannah had their own, you know, little room. So I had picked up some snacks while they were doing their scenes because we were all starving. So I went and found Crafty and got some snacks. And at the end of the day, I was trying to just put them in the trash and kind of clean up the room we were in. And they all kind of walked away. And I'm like, oh, they only walked away just like a few minutes ago. And the place we were at was so big, I just couldn't remember what stairs to take, what hallway to take to get out. And I ended up going down this long hallway and opened this door, and it's nighttime and it's, you know, a loading dock. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know where I am. I go back in, I'm looking around, and finally somebody found me. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I'm so sorry. So, and then that why it's so funny is because it happened again.
Oh,
I get so wrapped up in the character, and when I'm working, I just kind of zone out, and I'm in such a different headspace when I'm working that I just sort of like, you know,
I often wonder, Brynn, how, you know, as you as actors, how you find those rooms, because it's all different locations sometimes, right?
It is. I mean, here's another thing too. I can be kind of quirky when I'm not working and I'm waiting to do my scene, and I move a lot. I use my body a lot. It keeps me in that space because I don't want to let it go. It's like sometimes most of the characters I do are so much internal energy happening, going on. So I hold on to that by just, you know, I can talk and have a conversation, but if nobody's around, you know, I found myself, there was a checkered floor, and I must have been doing it for 45 minutes before I realized that I was just like doing little patterns with my feet, walking in like just a little in this area, and then I realized like I look like a freak right now, but nobody cares. Everyone's just doing their own thing. And the thing is, I rarely take my phone to set. I like to leave it in my trailer, or if I have it, it's off. And I know that everybody uses their phone, but it's something, it pulls me out. And so
Yeah.
I just sort of go into that space. So yeah, you find your internal space, you know, you make those, if you're with everybody in like a green room type thing. Yeah. There's so much going on around you. So I just that's how I kind of keep my focus, is staying in my body and those things.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What else? Any other questions about that? I
Well-
kind of got on a tangent.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Jean Smart, can you tell us a little bit about her?
She's a fucking rock star. She is so cool. And the scene that we were doing was all day long. And it was all day. I can't say much, but you know, there's a collaboration of the tone they set. You know, some of it comes from the lead actors and some of it comes from the directors and the creators, and however they're doing it, it's the magic sauce. She's so supportive, and Hannah is so supportive. Hannah, even when I sat down with her, she said to me, because you know, you're kind of shy, you don't know everybody, and I'm very used to showing up on set when I don't know anybody and they all know each other, and you do your, you know. And she was like, oh, I saw your work on Mad Men. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, how does she even know who, you know? It was so sweet. You don't have to say that kind of stuff. I mean, this is their show. But I did see, because Jean was doing this all day. We all do it, but we're doing it all day. But she was, when you watch the episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I did see them. They must have such a sweet relationship and very, very, very supportive of each other. and like, giving hugs of support. It was adorable.
Oh, I love that. It sounds like a really great set, a really great production.
It was magical. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
awesome. So.
And Paul, did you want to ask any questions before we move on to Mad Men?
No,
I
I
have
mean,
the
I think that's wonderful. I love it when a set is like family, and you're right, they don't have to do that, because they've already been together, they've already established this dynamic, but then to have a new actor come in and then made feel so welcome, I think that's such a wonderful place to be, and that's when you're like, okay, I'm with a great group of people, and I don't know, you act better. I don't know if that's
because it gives you that freedom, right? It makes you comfortable to be like, I'm just here for my craft. Everything else can now fade away. This is where I belong. This is where I'm at. You know what I mean? So
yes, it's good energy, right? That's what we all want.
A better actor because you can just be in it, right?
Yeah,
I agree.
Love that.
I love it.
So let's switch over and talk about Mad Men, because that was so iconic. Mad Men and your role in that. Share with us a few of your favorite moments.
Oh, that was really cool. Well, this is another thing too, where I come in and you have the whole cast, but they're in a different time period than Abigail, because Abigail comes in, in the 1930s, but Matt Weiner created whenever we'd have the table reads, and everyone was welcome, and it was really fun, and it was also very family feeling too. So a funny story though about that is, Janie Bryant is the costumer on there, and right, she's amazing and wonderful. But on one of the days I went into work, I went into my trailer, and there was an outfit that I was supposed to get into, and I was looking at the desk, and I saw 4 silicone boobs. 4 silicone boobs, on the dress, and I was like, I don't know which one I'm supposed to wear. Is this like for different scenes? I was just like, so I went out and got talked to a PA and say, can you send the wardrobe in here, because I'm not sure. So they said, oh, you're wearing all 4 of them, because Janie was very into the authentic bras, the authentic whatever time period you were in, everything underneath was also
amazing.
And I look at the scene, it was I think it was the hobo code, I'm pretty sure. Oh, and I look and I'm like, I look so thin, but I know that I have stacks of 4. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny that it was like,
I love that.
I took a picture. I was like, I don't know if I can post this, because you have to sign things and post production shots and stuff. But I just thought it was so funny. I'm like, if I ever get to post this, it's just so funny to walk into your trailer and just have a pile of boobs.
That's incredible. That is so incredible. And I love the authenticity of it, Brynn, to put you in that exact 1930s period. So important. Yeah.
And the shoes, everything. It was just, they were so meticulous and detail oriented. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And I did fortunately get to at least hang out with most of the actors on the set, because sometimes we were shooting simultaneously, so they'd be at a stage shooting one scene and I would be at another stage shooting another scene, and then would have lunch together and table reads and wrap parties and stuff like that. So
wow, what a wonderful memory. I love hearing about that on set, and it's so much fun. What do you think, Paul?
You know what, it was something that I never thought about, where to go to that level of detail, because the outerwear, of course, I get, right, because it's a period piece and you want that to fit, but then to give the actors that extra layer of also the intimate garments are also period correct. That's a whole other thing. I'd never even thought about that. But you're right, it would put you in almost a little different headspace, where it is the 1930s, and that's amazing.
Yeah, that was the first that was the first job I ever worked where I was introduced to clean dirt for your hair.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I have
Mhm.
a very specific haircut, so there were a lot of hair pieces, etc., with my own hair. But yeah, clean dirt in the hair.
Uh,
That-
you know what? Could you maybe talk a little bit about that so that the people that are listening, they're like, wait, what? Clean dirt?
Okay, so for you know, we're like almost in the Dust Bowl, right? Um, it's very poor on a farm, and authentic to be authentic. You know, how often do you bathe? How often do you get to wash your hair? So makeup and hair has a jar of dirt that is purified, that they can take little bits of it and comb it into your hair to give it that texture and that, you know, very authentic. Yeah. You know,
Clean
that's what
dirt.
you can get without, right, clean dirt. So
Wow, I've never heard of that. This is amazing. These are all the intricacies and details of it. Goes far beyond the Foley department. This is like prop, masterclass prop, isn't it?
Well, it's you know, I get fascinated of all these aspects. I think this is why I love doing this show so much with you, AJ, is because we learn so many things from what, you know, what maybe some people are just learning now to, you know, the stunt department. But I also got fascinated by a documentary where somebody was showing the props that they make, the silent props. So yeah, okay, it looks like cue balls, pool balls, but they're actually made from rubber and then painted so that you can play pool in the background and the scene continues and you're not hearing the racking, you're not hearing anything, you know, or bags that don't crinkle, you know, and there's this whole thing.
I love that. What documentary do you know? Do you remember? Just
I don't remember.
That's fascinating.
I'm sure it was on YouTube, on the
Right.
YouTubes, but if I can find it, I will send it to you. And
Yeah.
it's a guy that has a company, and you know, he's in the art department and creates all these props, all these things that look like they should, but don't sound like they should, or you know,
That's so
ice
cool.
that doesn't tinkle when
Right.
you know it doesn't plop in there, and just all these props that it's silent in the background, and these guys
Right.
are and the balls almost act normal, and you're in the background playing pool, but you're not making a sound.
Boy, that must save a lot of money on ADR.
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
The
There
only
you
good
go.
thing about ADR is, like, you know, you go in for ADR and you actually get to see mostly how they edited it and what your performance was, and if it was you know what I mean, if your feeling is sincere and if that what you were, you know, doing actually came across. So I mean, one good reason for ADR, but yeah, a bar scene with real pool balls would kind of be a nightmare. You would have to do the whole scene ADR.
Yeah.
It really would. And so these props are silent then, right, Paul?
Yeah. Yeah. And even like paper bags
That's
that
awesome.
don't rustle, you know, so
I
they're
would
made from
find
some
that in real
material.
life.
You know what? If we could,
We're
I
a
think people would buy
neurodiverse,
them.
we're a neurodiverse household over here. So, you know, the extinction of crinkly bags might be really beneficial for us.
I would love that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were we going to say, Paul?
No, that's it. I was trying to think of the other props that I was like, oh my God, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
That, you know, things that look like something but act differently, you know.
Oh,
so
speaking of props, I will tell you, you're reminding me of the Mad Men. The very first episode that I did, was it the first episode? Oh, maybe it wasn't. I can't remember. Anyway, Don Draper's having a flashback of his little brother Adam being born. That baby was prosthetic. It was not real. It was so. I hope that I won't get in trouble for saying that, will I? But
I don't think so. No.
But it was heavy, had weight to it. It was like kind of sticky like a newborn baby, and it was incredible. Like, it was very realistic, and I hadn't seen it. It wasn't just a doll, it was specially made. They had a couple of them. specifically made for by production. It was really cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail and a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes. So we want to say thank you to all those great people who make the props and the wardrobe department, just like you said, Brynn.
Yeah.
And they're very important to the film and TV industry.
I always get a little offended when they say, "Okay, we're ready for the talent."
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
say the actor. Just say the actor, because every person who's here, but
Yes. And also, doesn't that that's more respect saying it that way? I hope that they change that.
I think it's changing slowly. I think it's changing slowly. Yeah.
Not me. I love it. And then I make people get out of my way. Like talent coming through. I'll even say it at parties, so no, I like it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, AJ.
No, not at all. This is great. This is what I love. I love this. And I might use that one time if I go into a restaurant, Paul, and I'm feeling that I need some confidence. I might say, talent coming through, and then just saute, saute through.
I'm going to do that when I see you guys in Vegas for dinner. I'm going to walk in and go like, talent coming through.
And we'll be warmly receiving you with applause. Bravo, Paul. Thank you so much. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. I can't wait to meet you, Paul, in Las Vegas. And we're going to have delicious food. So I did want to, but circling back to you, Brynn, I did want to say or ask you, what is it that you love about acting, and how did you get started in it?
How many minutes do we have?
Well, let's see. 13.
You know what? Okay. So I came to LA to be an actor, Washington State, born and raised. I was raised in what they call now a high demand religion. And my parents would only pay for me to go to that college. So I went there for 2 years, and then I thought I would hear things, and I was very sheltered and very naive. I knew that I had to come to LA to go to UCLA, because if I wanted to be a successful actor, I needed to go to UCLA. I just had it in my head, right? I was not worldly. There was no internet, right? So I did. Very long story short. Drove around, went to Telluride, Colorado, went to a film festival there. Was running out of money, had like $30 in my pocket. Came to LA. Didn't know. I'd never really been to LA except on like when I was 9 to go to Disneyland with my family. So I thought there was like a Newport Beach Barbie, and I thought, well, if I go to Newport Beach, I'll probably be safe. And I ended up living out of my car for like a couple of months and met these kids on the beach, and they let me live with them. And then it just went. I have a crazy Hollywood story. So yeah, that's how I got into acting. And by the way, UCLA is really expensive. And I thought, oh, live there for a year and then I'll be able to pay for school. Well, that never happened. But I did end up acting, and I got into it through commercials. I think my very first acting gig was, I think it was a Tampax commercial. And I was in a high school gym. I think it was called High School Dance. And it was back then, it was a big deal because it was a female director from New York. And they were rare that there were female directors. And so that was really cool. That was my first intro into it. And then, I mean, I am putting this into the Cliff Notes, but I had a friend, Joe Minosky, who was a writer on a show called Hunter with Fred Dreyer and Stephanie Kramer.
I remember that.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Wow. That was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
So he said, hey, Brynn, I wrote this character like you talk, but you still have to audition for it with all these other people. But I can get you an audition. But I wrote it with you in mind. So I ended up booking that, and that was amazing. And I think that was my very first experience on a set, on a television set. And I fell in love with the family, because I did like, I think I did 4 episodes, and then they wrote another episode that was just, when my character left. So I think I did 4 episodes, but over a really long period of time. It seemed like long then. It was probably a couple months. How you feel when you show up on set and you're working with the same people every day, and you have these relationships. And I've always been really lucky, because most sets that I've been on, everybody's really happy to be there.
Yeah.
They like what they do. You know what I mean? They're passionate about being there. So I think that's, half of it, 50% is the feelings that you get, the feeling that family, that inclusiveness, and I just couldn't imagine doing anything else. I've tried to do other things, tried to do the music thing, tried to and I'm not a great singer. I'm just an okay singer. I can carry a tune. I'm a good performer, but better performer than I am actual voice. But that's what made me fall in love with actually that, not theater, but television and film. That's what I really, that niche that I loved. What else? What was the other part of the question?
I get that totally. And I know Paul does too. That sense of community and family, that's so important. And I love that you said that, Brynn. And that's what it's all about, relationships.
Yeah.
The second part of the question was, hold on, let me look at my notes.
What's my favorite thing?
What do you love about acting? Yeah.
I think that when I first was like, oh, I could do this. It never crossed my mind that I couldn't be an actor. It never crossed my mind. Even when I was little, I was just like, I didn't say, oh, I'm going to be an actor. I wasn't in drama club. I was in choir. I was in a few school plays, but I was never the lead. I never, in college, I took theater arts and sciences, and I strangely, well, here's the thing. When you learn about neurodiversity, you realize you're part of that club. Everything kind of makes sense. So my happy place is when I get to read a script, or I look at sides, or I get to audition. I've always been the geeky one who loves the audition process. And back in the day, it used to be you'd drive across town and pick up your sides, and then you'd get your sides, and you drive all the way back, and you have your sides for a couple of days, and then you go in for the first initial interview, the first audition, and then you might get a call back, and then you know what I mean. It was a lot of that whole yumminess of it all. The self-tape has hasn't killed it, but it's not as fun. Although you can control the light, but technology is a little challenging for me sometimes. So but yeah, that place where I can be so in this other person, and I've never not liked a role that I've been able to do. Like, I've never been like, oh, this is so dumb. I always feel the most important thing is the sincerity. Is this person sincere? Is what's happening sincere and really, feeling? So it's my happy place. I get on a high for a really long time after I've done a job, or when I'm on set and doing something and acting, even if I don't get the job, just the audition of having the sides and getting to do it. And although life is a little crazy right now as far as time management, but I still get that excitement and butterflies. And I never sleep the night before I shoot. The first night. If I'm shooting 4 days in a row, I just don't sleep that night. But if we spread it out, the first night. But if they spread it out, like I'm working 2 days this week and 1 day that week, I don't sleep. And it's crazy because as you get older, you want to look your best.
Right, right.
So you just drink a lot of water, and, you know. But I get just really excited. It's not really the nerves; it's the anticipation and excitement to go do this thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it is your calling. It's what you're meant to do, Brynn, because you're so talented and creative. And, you know, these productions on screen highlight that and show how talented you really, really are. I want to send it over to Paul. Paul, did you have any questions or comments?
Not really. I'm really enjoying the behind the scenes process, because we're all a little, you know, different and things like that. But yeah, how do you handle that when your excitement level is so high that you're like, oh, I can't sleep, you know? And it just takes me back to when I would have a big event the next day, whether it was for acting. It's so tough, but then you're like, I gotta get to sleep, otherwise I'm not gonna want to wake up in the morning. But I love that you just embraced it, and you're just like, I don't sleep, and you already know it. That's just the way it's going to be, and that's your process.
I try, but then I'm up at 3. I'm like, forget it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride my bike. I'll ride my stationary bike and I'll have some coffee.
Amazing.
I love that. I love
that excitement, that excitement of like having all that energy around you and what you're doing in your art form. Yeah.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much, Brynn, for that. I did want to ask you, how did you and Nancy meet? Nancy Scanlon.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you so much for asking me that. A mutual friend introduced us, and then we had a meeting, and I was like, why, if I had advice for any actor out there, don't wait to get a manager until you're famous or you're making money, because it's just the flip. It's the flip. I wish I would have met her 25 years ago. She's helped me so much and puts things in perspective and really guides me. I wish I had her when I was doing Mad Men, because there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. I'm not a good schmoozer. I'm not a good networker person. I'm not, even when I was something that would have been so helpful, for instance, is when I was on Mad Men, and they had the first big party, the whole like season wrap party, and I was invited. It was Hotel Roosevelt, and I showed up, and I purposefully, I was just down the street at a restaurant waiting for everyone to get in, because they get kind of nervous around crowds, and I was like, oh, I'll wait to get in. And when I got there, they had been waiting for me. There were 4 people at the door, you know, where they take all the pictures. They had been waiting they're like, oh, there you are. And I had no idea I was supposed to be there at a certain time. I had no idea they want to take pictures of me. I had no idea and concept of that. That is not my forte. My forte is the creative stuff, and I'm horrible at the business stuff. So not just, and Nancy is not just good with the business stuff. She's good with you know, the whole person, you know. So
she's the very best. I think she's the very best manager that I have met on Clubhouse, and she's absolutely lovely, 100%. Over to you, Brynn.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So it is something I can't stress enough. Don't wait. Do that thing first. Get somebody that's reputable and that you're cohesive with, and that you know how you have a good communication style, and just do it. Just do it.
Yes. What do you think, Paul?
Really helpful.
I agree as far as Nancy goes, but it's great to see your insight, Brynn, because and I agree. I think that the sooner the better, but it obviously, you know, it's not always open to people. But I've had people go like, well, this person offered, should I take it? And I'm like, yeah, you should take it, you know, and then you can always work and move up if need be. But a lot of times these, you know, people are waiting around for a bigger agency. You're like, no, you know, you might get lost there. You need somebody that's going to pay close attention to you if that's what you're paying a manager for.
Well,
so I think that's wonderful advice.
Yeah, thank you. And she's very, she's very, very not picky. What's the word?
Selective.
Yes, thank you.
Selective or meticulous. Yeah.
Yes, meticulous. Yeah, about like, I think who she's taking on, and of course, 25 years ago, I think she was producing and writing and all that stuff, so she wasn't doing this. But I'm very grateful. Yeah, it is. It's a game changer.
She's selective. I mean, that's for sure. And
selective.
You have to be.
That's what I wanted. Yeah.
There you go. It's yours.
Thank you so much for that. I also wanted to ask you, what is your dream job, Brynn?
That, I don't know. My dream job. The funny thing is, even when I came here as a young actor, during that time, nobody wanted to do commercials. And I was just really happy to do them. And then nobody wanted to do television. They just wanted to do films. And I love television. Yeah. I love to do television. I love to do films, but my dream job would be, yes, to get to work on a series where, the character that is the collaborative creation of me and the director and the writers and everybody, that character, that I get to do it so much that it becomes like second nature, right? So that all my little ticks and how I stay into character, because the more you do that person that's been created, the easier it is to go in and out of it. So I think my dream job would really be to be a series regular.
I love that answer.
That's not so, homogenous. I don't know, but I just love to do it. So it's hard to say what's my dream job.
Yeah,
right?
I love what you said, that it's a TV series, because that's regular. It's regular, constant work, isn't it? If you get picked up, right?
And those relationships and the fun and the wow, you're going to tell me that I can be in my happy place. I get to be, there's a time limit on it. You could be in this happy place for 5 years. I'm like, hooray, that's,
yeah.
And I always get to do fun characters.
Yes, you do. You do. And I love that about you, because you are a true character, yourself, you know what I mean? You're unique, and you're a true artist, Brynn. And yes, as well as an actor. I wanted to say you're both. So you have, because there's some actors that are just actors, and we don't really get to know their personality or get to relate to them like we do you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. Yes, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I do. I know for sure. So I did want to ask you one question about your career and challenging.
Okay.
So what has been the most challenging in your acting career so far? What has been challenging that you have overcome?
Now you have me stumped. Well, actually, you don't have me stumped. I just was flooded with so many answers that I'm like, oh, okay, it got really messy in my head. I think an appreciation and a knowledge and a groundedness. I used to be, there was an old acting coach I had. His name was John Levy. He's actually a casting director. But a long time ago, he was, doing coaching, and there was a little group of us that had him, and they used to call me the talented mess, because I was quirky and I was talented, but it was never, it was hit and miss, right? And then John gave me he is the person that gave me not a formula, but yeah, like when I get the material, what's the first thing I do with it? And what's the second thing? And it came, he brought me this sharpness and focus that I don't naturally have. And And then as you get older, of course, that starts to cement. So I think that that was a really big challenge. It's like a focus that I didn't have. And then I finally came into it and I had some really good guidance. Now, had someone done that for my life, that would have been really helpful during the last several, but yeah, yeah. And now it's just, I have an 8-year-old who's autistic and a 5-year-old, and time is challenging now. But when something comes up, I have a wonderful wife. We make the time. We're like, yes, whatever happens, you have to go to Canada, fine. We're going to go to fine. We're going to a really cool film festival in June in Lecce, Italy. It's called Allora Fest. It's the first year. I'm really excited about that. But that's really fun that we're taking the whole family and we're going to attend this. And, so it helps to have somebody on your side who gets it. She's also like a film writer, so she gets the business. If you're in a relationship with somebody who's not in the business, it can be hard. Like, we're planning a trip. Okay, you guys have fun. I have an audition. I got a job. I'll meet you in 4 days, So we both get it. We're like, oh, okay, we're not doing that. That's postponed, or this is it. So it's good to have that support. But so time management's a little difficult. We make it happen. But the focus thing was really difficult for me and challenging that I have now there.
Well, you're amazing. You're amazing at focusing. Can I tell you that, Brynn? Right?
I like this interview.
Yeah.
Let's get together.
I like it too. We love it too. That's what we're here for, and to support you and tell you the truth. And Paul, did you want to say a comment or question about that?
No, it's such wonderful insight, especially finding a partner that is not only supportive but knows the industry. So I think that when you find like-minded people, that really it really helps out both in the relationship and your ability to not worry about the mundane stuff and the little things, but rather about the actual doing the work and not worrying like, oh, we're going to be here 12 hours today and and then have to come back tomorrow for another 12 and things like that. You don't worry. So it's great that you have this great relationship. Where did you guys meet? You said she's also in the film industry. Were you meet on set?
Yeah, she's a film writer. Or she, let's see, we met in LA. We were friends for 10 years before we actually got together.
That's so
now we've been together almost 10 years.
I love that. I love that. And it's so true. I'm so happy for you that you have a good support system, because teamwork with a partner is everything. And so that's a true blessing.
I won the lottery this time around.
Yes,
but it was about time. Yeah.
That's right.
My choices in the past have been questionable. So
that's right. Good blessings happen to good people. I always believe that, and good hearts. And so thank you so much for that, Brynn. And I did want to ask you, what productions are you working on now that you are excited about? Is there anything that you can mention and share with us?
I can't.
Okay.
I can't mention anything now, but my wife Alyssa's always trying to get me into directing, because I have a talent for visualizing and blocking, and I think it comes from like that first Hunter thing, my first television thing, knowing really nothing about being on set, but then they put you in there. And back in the day they used did the one camera and the lighting, and basically I remember going in really young and they're like, okay, rehearse the scene. And I'm like, what? And it wasn't for me and Stephanie. It wasn't for the actors. It's for the camera. So I had to learn really quickly, everything I'm doing, I have to remember and do it 35 times. And do you know what I mean? And so I think that blocking and visual, I got really good at being like guest starring or coming in on a show, and everybody else has a relationship and everybody else has maybe rehearsed but you're coming in and you just have to know it. You have to go into look at the room and know your character, and you've never been there before, and like go through it in your head. And then I would, so she always is trying to get me in directing, but I'm like, when? Plus, I would much rather be acting. Do you know what I mean? So if I had to split my time, that would, yeah. But yeah.
I think you're going to be a great director if you choose that path, Brynn. Right, Paul?
I think so. And that's, and believe me, you know, the people that you work with, like you mentioned, Brynn, that you show up on a set and you're working with new people, the camera people, the crew, they appreciate that because they're like, okay, this person is seasoned. They know, you know, or if, you know, you tell them, hey, I'm going to start here. This is my 1. And then here's my 2. So that now they know how to rack the camera as you know, from when you start. You don't catch them off guard. And then all of a sudden you switch it the second time around. So I think that this is good for people to hear also. You know, it's great to know all aspects of the business, if you will, because then you can kind of walk in other people's shoes and go, oh, I shouldn't be doing this because it messes up wardrobe or makeup or the camera department. So I think that that's wonderful that you're so seasoned that you're like, hey, I can take care of myself. You don't have to worry about me. I'm bringing it. And I'm, you know, that's one less thing that they have to worry about. So I think that's such great advice.
Yeah, thanks.
I think it's wonderful too. I love that as well. And I'm so sorry, we're going to have to start wrapping it up, the show, but I do want to have final thoughts. And I want to ask you, before we do final thoughts, Brynn, how can people follow you and support you? Are you on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter?
I am not on Twitter, but I am on Instagram and Facebook. It's Brynn Horrocks Actor. That is a new page that I, you know, because I have Brynn Horrocks, but I'm starting to put most of my acting stuff on Brynn Horrocks Actor. And it's linked to my Instagram, indeed.
Wonderful.
And, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, well, we're going to do final thoughts, if that's okay. And we're going to go over to you, Brynn, first.
I was laughing because I was like, those weren't the final thoughts? Okay.
You're not going to get off that easy, Brynn. Please, final thoughts.
That's right. In fact, it can be anything that you like. It can be your heart message. It can be something that you've learned in life that you want to share with the world. Whatever your final thoughts are.
Final thoughts. What I've learned is I love kind people. And I don't think, even if there's a situation where you're passionate about something and a disagreement about something, there can always be kindness. And I'm not just on a set, but oh my gosh, I love kind people on a set. I'm just going to shout out to Christina Hendricks, because on Mad Men, she was the kindest person. She was amazing. She was so inclusive and lovely. Anyway, yeah, that would be my final thought.
I love that so much, Brynn, because that resonates so deep for me and Paul and quite a few people that we work with. And I know it resonates with Nancy Scanlon. And I just want to say thank you, Nancy, again. A beautiful shout out to our lovely Nancy. We love you from Courant Entertainment. So thank you again. And over to you, Paul, for final thoughts.
No, this is amazing. I have to reach out to Nancy and say hi to her and see if she'll do send me some wonderful people for my show, Paul Vato Presents. But it's been another incredible, I think, episode where we get to meet an amazing person who's doing amazing work and something that they love. And it just shows you, you know, that if hard work, dedication, and learning a little bit about everything of the business, it's going to go a long way, and it's so well deserved. So thank you for sharing your story with us, Brynn. And I hope that it inspires, you know, a young and up and coming actor. And then especially hearing the stories of nicety, of being nice and whatnot, because I think that, and that is, I've been on sets where you're like, why are they so nice? And I'm getting paid for this. I'm going to do something that I love. And they're thanking me. And then even if it's a small gig and all of a sudden they're done, like, all right, let's give it up for Paul. He's done. he's wrapped for the day, and people are like, are you like, what? I just had one line, whatever. But just even the little things like that, they just make you feel so good and so welcoming. So thank you for sharing those wonderful stories with us, Brynn.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
I love that.
And you can find me at paulvato.com. There's my final, that's my final thought.
paulvato.com. Remember that, because that's very special. And Brynn, I want to say you're absolutely lovely. And we want you back again. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
I had such a good time.
We want you back again when you can talk about your projects.
Okay.
Definitely.
That you've done.
Okay. Yes. You know how it is these days.
I know how it is. We know how it is. We understand completely. And my final thoughts are, keep your eye on the ball.
Thank you. That's great.
Okay, I just lost my ball, but there you go. So hopefully you had a little bit of a smile and some fun there. And thank you so much for everybody watching. Thank you, Brynn. Thank you, Paul. And until next time, lots of hugs and kisses.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. You too, Brynn.